If you keep telling yourself, I'll do some writing when I've got a bit of time, here's the problem with that. That magical free day or free week, it never comes. Whether you're juggling a full-time job, kids, caregiving, or just life in general, you can still make real progress on your PhD using the techniques I'm going to teach you in this video. You don't need motivation. You don't need a silent cabin in the woods, although wouldn't that be nice? You just need a plan that fits your real life. Your messy, busy, 147 emails in your inbox life. Let's start with this myth that every PhD student believes at some point. I need a full day to write. You block out a Saturday. You make a pot of coffee. You might light a nice candle or put a wax melt on. I love that. But somehow it gets to 6 p.m. You've reorganised your cloud storage. You've cleaned your kitchen and written a grand total of not a lot. Then you feel guilty because you've wasted your writing day. And you tell yourself you'll make up for it next weekend, which you won't because life. Here's the thing. These big, uninterrupted writing days, they sound really productive. They sound like a good idea. But often, they're the least productive. They create pressure because the bigger the block, the longer the block, the greater the expectation. And the bigger the panic and the guilt and the shame when it doesn't work out. What works better is teeny tiny blocks. 10-minute sprints, an hour after dinner, 30 minutes in the car park, an hour and a half on a day where you're able to get up a bit earlier. And these things can feel small, they can feel minimal, they can feel not ambitious. And that is why they work, because they're doable. Most of us grossly overestimate what we can get done in a day, but we underestimate what we can get done in these mini focused time blocks. And we also underestimate how positive and uplifting and motivational they can be, because once you start moving, once you start along the path and you're getting something done, you start to feel better. And that is half the battle. So let's turn this into the first step. Shrink your writing sessions. Start by picking one ridiculously easy goal, a goal that almost feels too easy. For example, add one reference, write one paragraph, outline the next subheading, come up with a title for it. That's it. And if you get that done, which you probably will, brilliant. And you might want to do a bit more, which is great. You might not, which is fine. These teeny tiny writing blocks and these small goals and these micro tasks, what they do is they stop this all or nothing perfectionist approach to writing. The perfectionism is such a progress killer because you go in with this plan to write 2,000 words in one day, and very rarely will you be able to go from 0 to that. And you get to the end of the day and you haven't written 2,000 words and you feel like a failure. But if you set these micro goals, these small tasks, these little things to achieve, that is something that will actually make you feel better, and it'll avoid this kind of shame and guilt that comes with setting massive big goals and not being able to reach them. They also stop the guilt spiral because you're proving to yourself that you don't need massive blocks of time to get writing done, that you don't need to book a week off work or sacrifice a weekend. You can fit your writing in, even on your busiest days. Writing for 15 minutes or for half an hour on several days of the week beats just putting it off until you can find a day when you can dedicate 10 hours to it. You're going to rack up the words way, way quicker than if you keep waiting for this perfect writing day, which, spoiler alert, it never comes. Now, the second step, protect your time. Protect your writing time like it's an actual meeting. Because it is, okay? It's a meeting with future Dr. You. Pick 2 small time slots this week, okay? That might be Tuesday lunchtime and a slot on Thursday morning. Put them in your calendar. Make actual appointments. And if somebody tries to book in with you or put something in your diary for that time, you can just say, sorry, I'm busy at that time. No explanation, no justification. You are just busy at that time, okay? And when that time comes and you've spent time writing, Even if you've only managed 5 scrappy sentences, you've kept a promise to yourself. That is confidence building stuff. So if you've ever felt that awful PhD guilt, that whole I took time off work to write, I used my annual leave, I used my holiday, and I still got nothing done, this is your antidote to that. By protecting these smaller blocks of time, you remove that pressure to perform, and what you get instead is permission to show up. Get into the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What is the biggest barrier at the moment to getting writing done in your PhD? Is it work, family, general energy levels, a bit of overwhelm? Drop it in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one of them, and you'll see that you're not alone. Okay, let's talk about step 3. And this one is all about cutting the time leaks. You probably have a bit more time than you think. The trouble is, it's dribbling out in little leaks. Think of your time like a bucket that's got tiny holes in it that you can't quite see. And you're like, why is the water level getting so low? It's leaking out through those tiny cracks, those tiny holes. Like scrolling X or Instagram or insert other social media platform for inspiration. Overreading instead of writing because you feel that you should just read one more article. Reformatting references for the 100th time. Checking your email real quick just before you start work on something significant. Generally fiddling and faffing around with something. None of these things in and of themselves are going to eat up multiple hours of your time. They're just a little bit here and a little bit there, but they really do add up. And when you take a step back and you look at your full entire day, you will be able to identify slots within that day that you can get some writing done. Here's how to find your leaks. For 1 week, track where your time actually goes. Now, you can get all fancy and you can get an app for it. Have a look in the App Store. There's plenty of this kind of thing in there. You can have a piece of paper and write down every half an hour what it is that you spent the last half an hour doing. So that might involve setting your phone alarm to go off every 30 minutes. You might have a notes app on your smartphone and you're just jotting down in there throughout the day what it is that you've been doing. And resist the urge to change your behaviour as you're doing this, because very often when you're doing time tracking, I know that I've done this when I've tracked my time, I've felt the urge to just do things differently because I'm kind of embarrassed by what I'm writing down. Don't judge it, just notice it, okay? You've got to confront yourself with the reality in order to be able to do something with that. Now, at the end of the week, look back and see, where did all your time go? You'll be amazed or slightly horrified at the little moments that add up. Maybe you're spending 2 hours a day just being really reactive with email and you've got your email open all day long and you're just constantly back and forth in it. You don't need to do that. You could perhaps instead identify blocks of time within the day to deal with emails. Say 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon, 30 minutes at the end of the day. That is better than being sucked into it all day long. Maybe your quick scroll before bed or on the sofa is turning into a bit of a marathon. And that's something you can tackle too, perhaps by setting a timer for 20 minutes before you jump onto social media. And when that 20 minutes is up, you're like, right, I'm done now. I'm moving on to something else. So by being aware of these time leaks and actually doing something positive to minimise them, not to get rid of them completely, because we all enjoy a bit of a scroll. We all have to respond to emails. But by minimising them rather than eliminating them, you are going to free up a little bit of time. And all of those little pockets of time that you're identifying, that you're kind of making more efficient, that's all going to make a difference to how much time you've got to play with. Writing your PhD thesis is not like one big, long, ultra marathon that you have to do in one go. It's thousands of short, wobbly steps that add up over time that are going to get you over the line. If you wrote 150 words a day for several days a week, you're well on your way to a chapter within a couple of months. It's not glamorous, it's actually quite simple and boring, but it works. So instead of saying to yourself, I don't have time to write because I'm not able to find a marathon 8-hour day to do it in, say this instead. I'll use the half an hour I've got. You don't need an expensive writing retreat or an empty calendar. You just need a plan that respects your real life and enables you to get words on the page. Popping up on your screen right now is another video you might like if you enjoyed this one. It's all about how to cut words out when you've written too many. Go check that out. I'll see you in there.